Who is the most important person in the world who knows you on a first name basis? We'll answer that in just a moment. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, and today we begin our second book of the Torah, Shemot. And Shemot is a very significant name in that it changes the entire character of this book from what we have been traditionally taught to observe and understand. All the way back in Sunday school, we heard that this was Exodus, and this is the story of the Exodus, of how Israel got out of Egypt and went into the wilderness, the Exodus journey. Actually, the name is Shemot, names, plural. This is the story of a people at the front end of the book who are blessed, prosperous, but very, very quickly are shown to be in servitude, slavery, and bondage. And then we go through the entire process by which Yah demonstrates his mighty right arm to bring about deliverance in order to bring them to a wilderness process, a process of building them in their character and their faith and their belief and their walk and their understanding and the revelation of the Torah, that they might finally come to the land. Everything else that we read in the Torah from this point on is about this process. But it all begins here at this very significant root. Now, what we read in at least the Scriptures translation, our English translation at the beginning, verse number 1, and these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Mitzrayim with Yaakov, each one with his household. The sons are all listed. And then it says in verse 5, and all of those who were descendants of Yaakov were 70 beings, as Joseph was already in Mitzrayim. I find it very significant for you and I that Yah knows us on a first name basis. Did you get the answer? He doesn't ask about our identity. He knows us. It also lets me understand that not only does he know me on a first name basis, he knows me personally as he does you in a personal relationship. Beyond that, he understands who we are better than we do we ourselves. He knows about you and your stuff. He knows about you and your frailties, you and your strengths, you and your strengths that are actually weaknesses. He understands all the ways that our minds work and those weird ways that we don't believe anybody would understand if we are ever bold enough to say anything about it. Yah knows us. His plan includes not only the potential, but the probability of using you and I in spite of our stuff. He's already taken that into consideration. When he brought this family down to Mitzrayim, he knew who they were. He knew that they were argumentative, that they were divisive, they were competitive. They had struggled for decades to try to vie for position and favor among themselves. He has now brought them down, and they have existed here for some 3 generations at this point. They are rich, prosperous. They are well-fed, well-clothed, significant, at least in their own minds. And it would seem that they have developed, at least to a degree, an understanding that they are no longer primarily Hebrews, but the Hebrew subculture of Mitzrayim. You would have thought at some point, while they would have had the wealth, the mobility, the significance, the opportunities to pack up their belongings and go home. But they chose rather to identify themselves with their host country, not realizing to the full extent that they were actually in exile. You and I pretty much are on the same track. It would seem that we can't go home. Not really. We can go and visit the land. We can have an extended visa, and maybe even find a job and work in the land for a period of time. As far as making Aliyah and becoming a full-fledged Israeli citizen, in actuality is only to become a citizen of a foreign government, a foreign land, and a foreign nation. What we know as the land and the nation of Israel probably will not be what will be the exact nature, design, and governmental structure when Messiah comes. Pretty much guaranteed that. Meanwhile, you and I live in some faraway land. For me, it's here in the United States. For others of you, it may be some other country. And we make the best of our situation that we can. Now, my family has been in this country for hundreds and hundreds of years. Many generations. I myself am 13th generation in this land, and there's at least 2 more after me at this point. So we are, in all reality, Americans. Should I identify myself as a Hebrew American? Possibly. I could actually try to do that. But the thing is, while I am an American citizen, why I vote, I obey the laws, I pay taxes, I own a home, I invest, I try to work and secure a future here, my longing in my heart is not to remain on the land that I'm in, but to return ultimately to the land of Israel under the kingship of Yeshua. That day has not come. Be that as it may, I cannot become so enamored by, enthralled with, so desirous of this land that I lose all other identity, all other ambition, and see nothing further on my horizon ever than just living here. I have to keep the kingdom in sight. Now, let me finish with this. The names are listed in a particular order in verses 2, 3, 4, and then Joseph is mentioned in verse 5. And it says that he's already in Mitzrayim. If you are to take the meaning of each name as they are listed in the order that they're listed and create a paragraph style flow of the names, a comprehensive or a cohesive understanding of what they're trying to say, it might sound something like this. When Israel, my firstborn, referencing Reuben, hears and obeys, he will be joined in praise to Yahweh. But the recompense of his house or seed, the son of my right hand, will judge in strife. Because he, Israel, considers himself fortunate, even happy in his bondage. However, he who gives and takes away is in Mitzrayim already to hear his cry and to deliver him. This is a story not only of Moshe and his significance, not only of the giving of the Torah, not only of the wilderness journey and the building of the tabernacle in the wilderness. All of those things are extremely important. This is a story of a people who continue to our day, a people that you and I have in these last days become a part of. We need to begin to see ourselves as significant, strategic, and playing a role and a part of being of the house of Israel in exile. We need to find a way that we play our part, do what it is that we have been given to do, that we ultimately see the house of Israel, the house of Yehudah, come back together and become one again, as one stick in the hand of the prophet, that Yah would send his son and bring about the actual manifestation in the earth of his kingdom. It may not be that you do something you think is world-changing and life-changing, but do your part. If you don't know what that part is, it's time to find out. It's time to seek him until you understand. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. Until then, shalom.